Hello and welcome to this week's Mystic Message. This week's Mystic Message is really bringing in a beautiful theme as we are exiting spring and entering into summer. However, whenever you watch this is relevant because this is a pivotal shift that we are experiencing collectively that reflects the shift from the old to the new. So this is really, really important. New access, new shifts within our mental body. And so what this is really all about, and this came very, very clearly channeled as a we have to hear this information type of message. It's about fear. Fear is one of those things that we talk about a lot and does come up a lot. And so in the past, how fear has presented to me personally through my journey and for clients, right? It kind of presents a little bit differently from a lot of the other emotions that you kind of, the idea of engulfing yourself and feeling your feels kind of makes the emotion kind of dissipate. Fear is not like that. It has not been like that. Fear is one of those things that what always comes through for people when I am doing a session or something like that is the only way for the fear to kind of chill out a little bit is to do the thing anyways. Like there's never, if something kind of sparks that fear in the mind, in the emotions, in the physical body, right? Whether it is like that chesty kind of tight feeling, that nausea in your gut, that kind of paralyzed feeling where you feel like you can't move, or you have the thoughts that are like, I can't do this, or something bad's gonna happen, right? That tends to be how fear manifests. It's not the origin place. And it's not something that goes away until you kind of confront the thing that you're feeling that fear from. There's no amount of other kinds of work that can make it fully dissipate, right? We've developed these different tools and techniques. We have meditation, we have breathwork, we have energy work, we have grounding practices, right? There's music. We all have our own coping and tools in our toolbox that help us move through things like fear. And that's great. It is great that we have those. That allows us to face the scary thing, do the scary thing anyways, and then some of that fear begins to dissipate after, right? Because we're starting to work on shifting those neural pathways. That is why the fear response was created in the first place. So that's the background information, right? What is shifting from that is this awareness around fear as a very intentional program placed within our mental bodies long time ago for various different reasons. So fear as this program, right? If you think about our beings as like these computer aspects, right? We have these different programs that are running. We have things that are dormant. We have things that we just need to turn on, activate, flip a switch. We have different software, different hardware, and we're shifting a lot of that. And so this fear program, what it was designed to do is essentially plummet our frequency. So we are energetic beings, and energy is waves in motion, right? This is not woo-woo, this is science, right? We know this, and we know that the faster that the waves are moving, the higher the frequency. The lower or the slower that they're moving, that is more dense, right? The lower frequency emotions are the waves are moving slower, and the higher, the quicker they're moving, the higher the frequency, right? We know that frequency is based in these energy waves, okay? And so everything is always in motion, even if we don't see it that way, even if it looks like things are solid and they're still, everything is in motion, right? Again, that's not woo-woo, that is science, right? Go down the quantum physics rabbit hole if you desire, right? What this fear program does when it's activated, right? So it's always there. It's this thing that, this is why we haven't been able to clear it out. It's this thing that whether it is kind of dormant a lot of the time, right? If you're someone who doesn't experience a lot of fear often, it's there, but it's dormant majority of the time until something triggers it or activates it, right? And then there's other people who maybe live in more of a state of fear, right? We all have it to some capacity because it is really kind of connected to our experience here on Earth and the evolutionary process that we're undergoing right now. And so what this program does is when it gets activated, it stops the motion of our being. We are meant to be in motion, right? In motion, that can be a lot of different things, right? You can think about it in all of the ways that you can conceptualize motion. It can be, I'm physically moving my body. It can be moving through energies. It can be moving through life and not just kind of staying stagnant. We're growing, we're evolving internally, externally, we're creating, right? That's a lot of that is motion. Fear stops the motion, which plummets the frequency, which sends us into a more dense environment, a more dense frequency. Law of attraction shows up. Now we are more magnetic to that density. And what happens here is the ego shows up. The ego and this fear program really go hand in hand. And the ego is not bad. There's a lot of, negative connotation to the ego as well. The ego is our survival, right? The ego is really beneficial kind of back when we were in a more primal, like caveman way of being, right? When fear was relevant and allowed us to show up and save ourselves from the predator that wants to eat us, right? The ego shows up to keep us safe. The ego shows up when, or in a beneficial way, I should say. The ego shows up to keep us safe from, predators, from, competition-related stuff, right? Back in the day, if we weren't bringing something to our community there and we didn't have value, right? They may not need us, so we fear we might get cast out. And so the ego shows up to almost overly prove yourself, right? A lot of these things are not needed. We're not living in these kinds of dynamics. We're not, at risk. We have shelter. We have protection. We don't have lions trying to eat us, right? And so the fear triggers the ego to show up as well, which prevents us from going beyond our basic survival needs. What this does is this makes us easier to control, to manipulate, and it disconnects us from our own power. The moment that we end up in survival mode, right, we're not thinking about our emotions. We don't have the luxury to care about processing our emotions or dreaming big or trying to create something new or, heal and grow internally, change our lives in these, beautiful ways, right? It's basic survival needs. I need shelter. I need food. I need some level of human interaction for that safety factor, right? It's all those basic, very root chakra-esque things. And so that is the purpose of this fear program was designed to bring us into this lower frequency, which makes us easier to control, manipulate, and out of our sovereignty, right? And so the way that fear has shown up is essentially a byproduct. It's not the origin. It's not the root of it. The root of it is this program within our mental body. Our mental body is evolving. That is actually the big theme of my summer solstice event that I'm going to do on Monday, the day after the solstice. Because that is the big theme, is a lot of these other parts of us, our emotional body and our energetic body, has grown and evolved, and we've had a lot of these activations taking place, especially within our energetic body. And now our mental body, that the phrase I keep getting over and over is, it's still operating from the monkey brain, right? The monkey brain, aka this outdated, egoic, survival-based structure, very primal, kind of almost animalistic, basic needs, survival, right? Not all the extras, right? And so it's been really hard for people healing and growing and evolving to, we do the inner child work, we do the past life work, we work through our emotions, but then we still have the thoughts. And we're like, how do I get rid of the thoughts? Or these patterns and programs, all of the mental stuff tends to, for a lot of people, be the most challenging part to work through. And it's because it is the most outdated of all of them. And that is what is shifting big right now. And so, what we're changing now is the ability to remove this program, right? The program is our frequency as a collective, as a being, our energetic mode, right? Everything is a frequency thing. And the moment that things get too far apart in frequency, one of the two just cannot coexist together. So as we are shifting our frequency, which is what we're doing, we're healing, we're doing the shadow work, we're clearing our energy, we're focusing on our physical body. We have the support of the solar energy that at times sucks, but it's doing a lot for us. We're having a lot of activation. So our frequency within our physical body, our energetic body, even our emotional body, because there is a lot, if you're one of these people, right? You've been through the emotional roller coaster and you're starting to get a handle on how to navigate that, right? So our frequency is going up, 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 up. And this fear program lives down here. And in order to fully integrate our mental body into all of this, that fear program has to go. And so this is part of why integration can be really hard and why sometimes having all of these parts of us together can be really challenging. The fear program is ready to release. We can affirm it. We can ask for assistance and guidance. We can use visualization. We can, use meditation, ask to see the program. When I went through this process for me personally, and it's an ongoing, it's not, I remove it and now I never feel fear again. But I felt it right here. It was funny enough, kind of like right here in this, like right in the clavicle area, kind of right in the higher heart area. Coincidence? Absolutely not. If you've been having a lot of throat stuff or throat chest or anything in this area during this spring, there's a chance this has already been kind of happening. We don't have to have the awareness for these things to happen. Like we don't always have to know for these things to happen. But we're able to clear this program out. And that, again, it doesn't mean that magically I never experience fear ever again. Because now we have to still work through the neural pathways that have been created within these structures and these parts of us. Now that this origin thing is gone, right? Now we can work through the shifts, and the clearing will hold better instead of kind of being like a Band-Aid. And so basically what this means in a nutshell, the what should you do is this is the time to face your fear, not let it control you. Dream big and go after it. The way that you keep this fear program running is by you choosing to flip the switch or let it control you and let those neural pathways continue to remain, right? We can shift our neural pathways. We just have to train the body, right? We can train our bodies to let go of those associations where this trigger happens and now I land in fear, right? We do that thing that is scary, right? And then we realize nothing horrific happened, and it starts to create new neural pathways that this thing is safe. Where in the past, it triggered fear, whether from trauma, ancestral trauma, other lifetime trauma, matrix programming, and it's limitless where these things originate for everyone personally, but it's all tied to this fear program that is within our mental bodies. So ultimately, fear is stagnation. Stagnation is fear. It's all this lower frequency. This is not the time to just do nothing. And when I say do, it can be through your being and through your expression and through showing up and through kind of doing inner work, or it can be through going after your dream. I've always wanted to start this business. I've always wanted to start this hobby. I always wanted to move across the country. The things that fear has prevented you from doing, this is your time to do it. And this is how you wipe all of that clear. And we upgrade this mental body, we integrate it, and again, another layer and level of our evolution from this old reality to this new reality, right? So it's get off the couch, get your head out of your ass, get your head out of the sand. This is time to show up, take a step, go for whatever it is that you are trying or wanting to go for and you have felt crippling fear. Face it. This is the time to face it. Go towards your dreams now. Go do it. You got this. All right? Mwah. See you Monday.